BTL coming at you. Good Thursday, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, they got it done last night, man.
If you notice, we were both adorned in the St. Louis Blues apparel. This was the jersey that my dad sent me that I texted him during the show that he needed to send, and he got right on it and sent it. So I got the Blues jersey that I've had since I was probably about 8 years old. This is a vintage one, and then yours is a vintage one from what, about 94?
It was when Gretzky was there.
94, 95, when Gretzky spent now you went the extra mile. You actually have the deuce, which was your men's league number with the name on the back.
We did that one year.
Oh, you guys were all the Blues.
We were all the Blues.
There you go. I've also noticed, I will say this, unless you think we were bandwagon fans, like I said, I've been a Blues fan since I was a little kid at Jeffries. At the beginning of the season, actually, when he got his new vehicle, put a blue note on the back of it when they were in last place. So
that is correct.
Great overtime win last night, and they had one of those games. I watched it from the first drop of the puck to the overtime. It was kind of like one of those days where you get out on the water and you break one off right off the bat. And you go, oh, no, this is how the day is going to go. This is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
And then from then on out, you make every right call. You get in the groove. All your fish come in the boat. And then you catch a kicker with 10 minutes left. And you get off the water and go, that's how a day's supposed to go. And the slow start was a distant memory. So series tied 1-1. But lots of stuff going on in the bass fishing world, Mark. So enough hockey talk.
All right, today we're going to have James Watson worldwide live from the water at Table Rock Lake here in about 15 minutes. But so much going on. The BFL All-American getting underway at the Potomac today, Matthew.
And one of the cool things that they do there with FLW, obviously they take the top anglers from each division of the BFLs from the 2018 season. We've done a series and articles in the past on Bass Zone about the impact that the All-American has had. Past guest Stephen Browning, Shaw Grigsby, Joe Thomas, just a number. I know I'm leaving out a bunch of guys, but a number of guys who got their career starts by winning the All-American, and they still do it right. They get the 50 boats lined up. They're all identical Rangers with identical electronics, and you show up for a week and they treat you right. I've seen a bunch of the industry representatives there kind of supporting that. So big payday, and probably, what would you say, classic Forest Wood Cup, BFL U.S. Open, BFL All-American,
probably
Bass Nation Championship.
Yeah. Those
are the big ones.
Yeah. And then throw Red Crest in there, but we haven't seen one yet.
No, that you can't throw that in yet. There's never been one.
I know. On down the road. So a couple of people from Oklahoma, actually 3 people in Oklahoma have won the BFL All-American.
Let me see if I can guess. One's obviously Sean Goodwin.
Yes.
The other one you gave away, Wade Ramsey.
Yeah.
And who's the third?
I think this is right. You might look this up. I believe that O.T. Fears won the All-American.
I don't know, possibly.
Look that one up.
I don't know.
In your spare. Do you know who O.T. Fears is?
Yeah. Okay. But I can't look that up like just immediately.
No, I know. Just sometime during the show. I think O.T. Fears won.
Yeah, and then also, so that kicks off today, and then also the final day of practice for Stage 7, their return to Table Rock for the MLF Bass Pro Tour, very critical tournament. As there is only one more regular season event left, and then we're a season in the books, because you have to remember the 4 cups that they have are all going to be filmed in the dark. So we won't know who won, how. We just know who's in it, and then they'll go off the reservation for a week, and then they won't be able to say anything. You have to judge it based on like the smirk or grin. Hey, how'd it go? To tell her that they're just like,
silence.
It was a tournament, and then you're like, that didn't
Sergeant
work out.
Schultz, man, I know nothing.
But then the Red Crest in August, so that and All
right, we did not mention yesterday, a sad day. Everybody received word. Several of the news outlets reported that Glenn Brown passed away over the weekend.
Yeah, there's nice guys and then there's good guys.
Yeah.
And Glenn Brown was a good guy.
He was.
And I didn't know him that well personally, obviously, to say hi to him and things. But I talk about kind of my first year out ever on tour when you kind of threw me to the Wolves in 2008.
In Detroit.
I was still just graduated. I was a senior that year in 2008, but was working for you, and you sent me to cover the FLW tour
in Detroit.
We're working. We kind of did some stuff with Chad Morgenthaler that year, who was camping, and then Glenn Brown always camped next to him, and Glenn was one of the first guys to come up. I was 22 at the time, 23 at the time, and Glenn was one of the first guys to come up, introduce himself, one of the first FLW Tour pros that I actually kind of got to know on a first-name basis, and genuinely nice. And every time I had seen him at tournaments after that, it wasn't just a hey, would always talk and say, hey, great to see you. And you can tell by the outpouring of support from the fishing community across all platforms, not just Florida guys, not just FLW guys, that he was very well respected, very well liked, very talented angler too. Had battled cancer for several years. Had kind of got it, what it seemed to be manageable. Came back and fished the FLW Tour for portions of the seasons not that long ago, and actually fished the first Costa, the South Eastern Division there in Florida this year. In January, I guess before he passed away, he got to fish a tournament with his buddy just a couple weeks ago and caught a big one, and then he got to go see the Wonders of Wildlife Museum in Missouri. But did not look good.
Really young.
Did not look like Glenn Brown towards the end, but still could catch him and still had the attitude and stuff. So really bummed out, and heartfelt condolences to his family and friends and everyone who knew him.
Absolutely. All right, a couple of things I want to mention, and then we're going to go to James Watson here in about 5-10 minutes. Did you hear about this striper injury? It's fishing related.
From Brandon Card's dog yesterday?
No. From Lake Texoma.
No.
I had no idea about this, and maybe you know. I guess there is a rare bacteria that appears on certain fish, except for catfish. They made it clear that it did not appear with
they've
catfish.
Been down since like the Plesiosauric era.
When you get cut by one of these fish, either on the gill or by the fin or something like that, this bacteria can get in there.
Yeah, fish poisoning.
This happened. This is different. This happened to this guy who was on a striper trip down at Lake Texoma and was hospitalized for 5 days.
What?
And thought they were going to have to amputate his hand.
Really?
And they showed some pictures of it. He's been through 3 surgeries already, all because of this cut on a fin. So here's what I'm going to do. This was a news report that was locally here on Channel 4. I'm actually going to reach out to a striper guy that I know that's been on Lake Texoma forever. And he has been doing this game for a long time, and I'm going to see if he knows anything about it.
That had to make you a little nervous.
Oh yeah, because where am I going tomorrow?
Are you going to Texoma to striper fish? You're going to be one of those guys out there with the gloves with the fish dangling on the end going,
Have you ever heard anything about that?
No.
Oh, and they showed a picture of it. His whole hand was, it looked like a snake bite.
I'll be honest, I've seen it. You get the little bits of fin in, you get the cuts, and I just call it fish poisoning. And the way that I deal with it is you get home and you just have a 99% of hydrogen peroxide and you dump it in a bowl and you soak your hands in it for a little bit, and then you put you just get some of that antibacterial stuff and you wash your hands and it burns really good, and then the red puffy goes away.
Yeah, we might be able to Google it up, and I'm sure they have pictures out there somewhere.
I don't really want to see that.
It's that's what it looked like.
Kind of hot.
Yeah, we're gonna be peeling them off during the break.
This is the first time I've worn a jersey, quote unquote, like a fan ever. I wore them in game 1 for the first.
When you were a kid, you didn't wear a jersey to the game if you ever went to the game?
No, the only time I did was when you wore your youth hockey jersey to get into the game for free. Then it was an economical decision.
Man, when I was a kid, and I've told this story just real quick before about how I got into hockey. A friend of mine in elementary school, his dad played for the Kings. Well, at the time, this is early 1970s. There was only one place in Southern California that you could get hockey gear and hockey equipment. And it was a big deal if you could get an LA Kings jersey and actually wear that to the game as a kid. All right. And they were expensive. You know how much a jersey was back in 1972?
I want to say $30.
Unlettered. $40.
Yeah, I was close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
Still expensive now today.
Oh, $200 for a lettered jersey? Jeez. Anyway, so let's see here. I'm going down. Did you get a chance? And I want to know if anybody out there that's watching or listening, did you get a chance to see the television show for the Elite Series that was at Lake Fork?
I have not watched it yet.
I DVR'd it for you in case you want to watch it. Dude, it was unreal. I mean, I thought some of the live stuff was cool, but some of the fish catches and some of the stuff that they showcased during that television show, in my opinion, that was the best one that they've done so far this year.
Yeah, it's on Lake Fork. They don't have to worry about the slot, and they broke the century mark. Brandon Cobb finished in fourth with 95 pounds.
Is that what people want to see?
You're talking
dude,
frog
so
fishing, top
cool.
water, shallow. I mean, if it wasn't one of the best ones, then they seriously jacked it up. You had to try to not make that show impressive.
It was really cool.
It was like the Falcon Lake one. All you have to do is make sure it's rolling, and you're golden.
I think you're discounting the fact that they still got to put the thing together, and you still got to catch them, too.
I'm just saying.
It was really, really good.
They had material to work with.
Yeah, it was really good. So if you get a chance, check that out. And Brandon Cobb, some of the stuff that Brandon Cobb was doing, very, very, very interesting. And then some of the top water. And when you look at the water, Matthew, it was not that clean. It was not typical Lake Fork water. And they were just annihilating the top water. Crankbait bite. I remember the first time Kelly Jordan took me out there and showed me the whole long lining thing. Have you ever done that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not, you're not allowed to.
Well, you can't do it. I mean, but
Yeah, obviously, the first time I'd heard of that was when Jeremy Starks won on Douglas there in the Elite Series.
Doing it.
Yeah. And then everybody did it.
Yeah. Maynard wants to know, did you play at Fort Wayne for the Comets?
Did I?
Yeah.
I played at Fort Wayne in youth hockey, but I mean that's like professional. That's like they get paid to do that.
You weren't that good, man?
I did not.
How much do those guys get paid in the lower ranks of?
Yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, some of them anywhere from, like you get into like the SPHL and the FHL.
It's like $300 a week.
I want to say anywhere from $250 to $400 a week during the season,
and they get
medical
lodging
benefits.
too.
And some of them get lodging. What happens a lot of the time cases there is, your vets are going to get a little bit more money under the table, and then you're going to get hooked up with like a construction job or work somewhere with someone who's a fan or who's got kids who play hockey, and they'll take care of you during the off season.
I gotcha. By the way, it was OT Fears, 1987. Cool. So that came from Jake in Ohio, 1987.
Cool.
And then Matt said, there's a name I haven't heard for a long time. All right, last thing, and then we're going to take a break and come back with James. I get this bizarre email yesterday. Now, I've gotten a lot of emails over the past week and a half, 2 weeks. I get this email yesterday, and it sounds like that they're coming for me to throw me in jail, basically.
Who's it from?
It's from this copyright violation company. And I'm like, what? I've never seen anything like this before. No, it wasn't spam. It was legit. All right. And I had to do research. And basically what happened is the domain that we have for 20 Feet Deep, it's 20feetdeep.com. We had it set up originally where we put all of the 20 Feet Deep documentaries over on that domain. Well, when we made the decision that we were going to consolidate everything, we had that domain be pointed to bassown.com.
Right.
Well, there are hackers out there that actually troll and find domains that have been forwarded. And then what they do based upon, and I don't want to get too technical because I had to do a ton of research, based upon their ability to do this, if you went, and it's already been fixed, but yesterday, if you would have went to 20feetdeep.com, it would have been a porn site.
That's awful deep there.
I know. I'm just like, and it was in foreign language. It was a foreign, I don't even know what kind of language it was. Because when I got the email, I thought, what the heck is going on?
So wait, who sent you the email?
This, from the Register, the stupid
GoDaddy?
No, it wasn't GoDaddy. It was some other company.
How did they get to you?
It was legit because my name and my email address is associated with that domain.
Oh.
So they sent me the email saying, hey, look, you got a bunch of copyrighted porn out there. You need to do something about it.
How long had it been out there?
I have no idea. No idea. So I spent an hour and a half trying to work
on the phone, or
work with GoDaddy, work with Back40.
Were they like, yeah, this happens all the time?
No. In fact, Back40 said this is the first time, and
because they have firewalls and security.
Yeah, they got a ton of stuff. This was the first time that situation ever.
But you got to take care of.
Got to take care of.
No one's gonna bust into
the
studio.
No. If you go to 20feetdeep.com now, you get directed automatically to the Basso. But can you imagine typing in that domain and all of a sudden there's a bunch of foreign porn on there? That's what it was.
Especially you. You are highly uncomfortable since I've known you with the birds and the bees talk.
I know, man.
The birds and the bees talk comes up and you start looking for the nearest exit. Not your comfort zone.
It was very embarrassing when I pulled that up.
There you go.
The first time. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope nobody has been trolling 20feetdeep.com.
What happens when you're on the old PC and try to type in bass zone too fast and miss the B?
Oh, yeah. You know where that goes. So
or
anyway.
Bass fan.
Good point.
Very similar. Very similar results.
Good point there. All right, we're going to take a break. Peel the jerseys. Come back with Worldwide, hopefully live from Table Rock Lake, as we get ready to see if he can put forth some redemption. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Sleek new design with easy control file. The clearest images underwater with uncompromising range. Live mapping from the touchscreen. View notifications, video, even Google Maps on screen. And for the first time ever, real-time view of fish movements with live sight sonar. HDS Live. New from Lowrance.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole down.
AFCO has a new foul weather rain suit called the Hydronaut. A lot of the features that I really like about it first is the speed vent hood. If it's raining out, you know how a person gets wet is when you run down the lake and the hood comes down. With the speed vent hood, it's going to stay up. It has a camera mount in the pocket on the chest. The Hydronaut has a 2-layer, 100% waterproof nylon shell. If you're interested in a rain suit that has a lot of cool features that's going to keep you dry, you need to check out the Hydronaut from AFCO. Aaron Martins here. I'm going to be telling you about a new product by Sunline. It's Siglon PE x8. I've been using it almost extensively all year for my frogging, flipping, drop shotting, shaky heading, worming, jerk baiting. It's by far my favorite Sunline braid. I honestly, I don't say this unless I think it's true, but honestly it's the best braid in the market of any of the braids. Definitely check it out. It's a price point line, $14.95 for 165 yards, and that could last you a whole year, just one spool with using leader material. It's Siglon PE x8. It's my favorite braid, and I think if you use it, it'll be your favorite braid too.
Blue Water by TH Marine, offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
All right, we are back on a Thursday, wrapping up the week. Getting ready to talk to Worldwide.
Is he not out on the water?
I guess he's not out on the water yet.
This is the final day of practice, isn't it?
Maybe he's dialed in.
I don't think they got to practice much yesterday. I watched a video of Russ Lane trying to battle 40-mile-an-hour winds to try to get his boat in a slip. I saw at least 20 different posts of guys who were either in their rental houses, their trucks, a boat slip. There was hail, torrential downpours, storms.
Yeah. He's got a lot of sunshine on him right now.
And the bad thing is none of these guys are familiar with Table Rock. How are they going to get any practice in, Mark?
Oh, I have no idea.
I mean, it's a foreign body of water coming for Stage 7 here, and they have to deal with the weather yesterday.
I don't know. Maybe we can ask him that. Let's see here. You there, man, James?
I'm here. The foreign body of water.
That it is not.
Are you charging rent for everybody that's just basically lived at your house for the last month?
Here's what it is. Everybody, when they come to stay at my place, everybody gives me $100 bill. That helps me restock laundry detergent, toilet paper, and pay for the cleaning lady.
There you have it. The James
That's
Watson
a pretty good deal.
Resort right there.
Pretty good.
For
how many you got stacked up in the compound this week?
We've got Brandon Coulter. We got Freddie Boom Boom Robanis. We've got Tommy the Biffle. We've got the Sprague.
So you got four. Who's the worst guy? Who's the worst guy there? The messiest guy where you're like, Tommy, do I have to tell you again? Put the barbecue sauce up.
I don't know. I think I'm going to think probably it's a toss-up between Coulter and Fred.
The messiest guys.
But here's the caveat to that. They both have their spouses here this week, so it improved drastically this week.
So they're different when they're staying with the missus than when it's just the boys.
They have help.
Oh, I gotcha.
See,
someone to go behind them and pick up their messes.
All right, James. Yeah. Let's jump right into it, man. What the heck happened 2 weeks ago?
I got 1 pounded.
1 pounded. 1 pounded.
I did.
Well, what happened?
Explain that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get that light out of the back here, boys.
That's fine. That's your aura. That's your positive aura.
It's the Ozark aura. I don't know if that helped or not. Anyway. Okay, well, I'm just going to drive. How's that? Well, the bottom line was I thought I had some good little weightless worm fish that I could go to. Bad decision on my part is I went to the flat stuff with the bushes as the water was dropping instead of more vertical stuff. And I'm only assessing this after the fact. And my fish were really jumpy and non-committal come tournament time, which it hurt me big time. And I had fish after fish after fish come out and actually look at my worm, but not eat it. I mean, good ones too. And the second day, I was just so far behind. I made a good run at it the first period, only to turn and catch single fish here. And when I caught a fish, it was a good one. I had 6 or 7 over 3 pounds the second day, but just couldn't catch any numbers.
All right, I want to know from an emotional standpoint, just tell us what your feelings were. Were you pissed off, James? You're home lake, you're getting dusted. I think you finished 27th is what you finished after the 2 rounds.
That's not dusted. It's only 7
That's
for
dusted.
making the cut.
I want to know
dusted.
how you felt. Were you pissed off?
I was. You know how people, get upset and, feel bad about a particular tournament? This was the worst feeling I ever had in my life.
Okay.
The worst when it comes to tournament results. And here's why. Because I did well at Jasper. I sat in a great position. I just need a top 40. I just need to make the cut. And I'm in a cup, which is another paycheck, more TV time. And I pissed it all away. And the fact that I've only got one paycheck.
I figured driving around the Ozarks might not be the greatest.
That stings. And I've had some big bags of bass. So
we lost you for a brief moment there. I was telling Jeffries I was sure maybe driving around.
Where are you driving to?
The boat ramp, I would assume.
I'm driving up to a boat ramp.
Oh, okay, because you're starting to break up a little bit there.
Well, I apologize. I'll pull over here when I find out.
All right, James. So we've kind of seen how everyone's talking about the guys who did well. They're looking forward to getting another crack at it because they know what's going on. The guys who did poorly, we had Mike McClellan on talking about how excited he is for redemption on this deal. I want to know now, is there more pressure on it now that you have another because you have the opportunity to go 0 for 2 on your home lake, or is it the exact opposite to where there's less pressure because you've got the bad one out and now you've kind of learned some things and worked some of the kinks out of it?
Well, all the pressure in the world is on me, all of it. So I don't like this kind of pressure on me. Trust me when I say this. So I just pulled over so I could get a better signal for you guys.
All right.
So would you rather it have been at Grand had the water been available for them to fish and to put this in the rearview mirror, or do you like that you get another shot at it?
I would have loved to have gone to Grand, but I'll be honest. I'm glad we're here at my home lake with an opportunity to redeem myself. And, I know how to catch them here. I know how to catch them here this time of year. I don't know how to catch them real well before this time of year, but this time of year is mine. The problem is the format definitely is not conducive for me right here. And I'm not whining and I'm not crying, nor am I voting for us to go back to a different format. I'm just used to catching bigger post-spawn fish and not catching the numbers. I'm not a guy that throws a shaky head ever. I've never caught a fish on a Ned rig. I don't mind drop shotting if somebody takes me out there and puts me on them. So,
all right,
you gotta learn.
Are any of those things going to change this upcoming week, or are you still going to be? I would assume one of probably only 2 or 3 guys on the Bass Pro Tour who haven't thrown a Ned rig 7 tournaments in.
I ain't throwing the damn thing. They can suck it. I'm not eating it. So,
right,
I don't have any confidence in it.
Yep.
I got you. I got you. All right. How different are the conditions going to be this week and into the weekend compared to when you guys were on the water 2 weeks ago?
Well, there's going to be some color in the water. They're going to be moving water as they did last time. We've got we were 916.80 yesterday. I pulled it up this morning. We're 917.06. So it's already come up a quarter of a foot. So it's going to be back in the bushes. The deal is with the bushes, it was so good the other day because there was so much garden and so many fish still just guarding our old beds and fry and stuff like that. Now you can't see the fry real good here in places, but a lot of those fish have now come off of the bank and will start to find their ways out into their summer positions.
Does that fit your game better?
It fits the only game I got. So, the problem with me is the last few years I haven't got to fish on my own lake very much. And when you hit the trail like we do, your home lake is the least fished lake, it seems to be, in my book. I've got, with it, including yesterday, I now have 6 days on Table Rock Lake this year, and it's almost the 1st of June.
Wow.
I had 1 day to break my boat in back in January. I had 2 days of practice for this tour event, 2 days of the tournament, and a practice day yesterday. That's 6 days. So.
Wow. So how was your practice?
Yesterday was phenomenal. I bet I caught between 3:30 and 8:30, and I know it lines out at 8.
That's why he's not on the water.
Yeah.
I bet I caught or could have caught 35 bass. Easily. Now, is it going to be like that come Saturday and the sun out? I don't know. Yesterday was a phenomenal day, and here's why. All the signs are set up for it. I saw tons of deer on the bank. I saw armadillos, possums, and raccoons all the way home, including deer. I mean, everything was stirring yesterday. And it was probably because of all the monsoon rain and weather activity we had.
You were smiling at that, Jeffries, but that is, I have heard more tour guys talk about that, and when I'm covering tournaments or shooting photographs in the boat, someone say, oh, look, the deer are moving in the back. Or I remember when I used to go out to Thunderbird, I could judge whether I was going to catch them on how many fresh skunks and armadillos were dead on Highway 9 heading out to the lake. I mean, do you believe that's a real thing too? The more nature
100%.
moving?
100%. I mean, I'm going straight up Jason Christie on you right now. That is a sign. That is a sign. When things are stirring, bass are biting.
All right. Hey, I want to go to the instant feedback. Blake in Tennessee wants to know, when you have so many people staying over at your house, has it become more difficult for you not to talk about what's going on with the, hey, I can't talk to anybody rule?
It is. It is when you sit there and you want to talk about how good or how bad something might be, or maybe you have an expert in the house of something and you got a expert question like, hey, what hook, Biffle, what hook do you like to flip with? I'd like to be a little bit better at my game. All those things, they get talked about briefly and then they get shut down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
Or, oh, we got to be careful. So, that lie detector test that we got is the real deal. And again, inadvertently, I don't see how some people can keep from failing that lie detector test inadvertently without breaking a rule. I mean, it's that difficult to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. It is, and I'm saying that. I'm saying that because it scares me. It scares the shit right out of me. I don't believe anybody in our group is cheaters, but you could very well say something that would contradict or put you in a quagmire when it comes to the lie detector test.
Let me say this, and I've thought about that too, and I've talked to a number of anglers on all 3 tours about this rule, and I agree it is impossible. Right now, all of our listeners, if you fish a local club tournament, if you fish a team trail or anything, I guarantee you have 10 people in your phone book right now on your phone that you would consider friends. Hey, you friends with Billy? Yeah. You don't know much about their family. You might not even know what they do for work. You don't know their kids' names. You don't know where they go on vacation. But you talk to them 10 to 15 minutes, probably once a month, and every time you see them. And what do you talk to them about exclusively? Bass fishing. Bass fishing.
Right.
And they're your friends.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you had to be around those people. You go, well, I don't know. I mean, I have done it. I'm like, I guess I should see if this guy's like married, has kids, like what town he lives in, nothing. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm buddies with this dude. I know this guy. No, you talk about fishing. They're your fishing buddies.
Yep.
And just because these guys are on the tour doesn't mean that it's any different. If anything, it's 3 levels worse because they're 4 levels deep on conversations about fishing that they've had for the past 20 years of their lives that none of us have even thought about.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to take that. And I'm not saying it's a bad rule. It's a good rule. But integrity across the way. But what I'm saying is now you're trying to take that and take these relationships that have built that's second nature and ain't nature that these guys have done over the years and just said, nope, now it's politics and family. No bass fishing.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
It's hard to do, guys. And some of the fun of this job, it has been stripped from us because of that. You know, you can't tell some wild story how one, you know, you had your hula popper hanging over a limb and a 3-pounder jumps 2 foot out of the water and eats it. You can't talk about that now. You know, you can't talk about how you hooked 3-4 pounders on a big crank, you know, on back-to-back cast. You can't mention all that. So, and things like that have been mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Now, does that, when that gets mentioned, is that guy a cheater? No, he's probably just shot himself in the damn foot.
Well, let me ask you this, James. If that rule went away, that you guys you could talk to another competitor. If that rule went away, would that drastically change the results that we've seen?
No. In my opinion, no, it would not. I believe the rules should have some parameters to it. You're not allowed to talk in detail, you know, and then, but, you know, I love all these guys I fish against. I've got just as many friends on the bass side without fishing bass as I did on the FLW side. And I'll be honest with you, some of these guys that I'm newly fishing against, they're all pretty wound tight for James Watson standards. Pretty wound tight. I mean, I like to have a good time. I don't care what job I'm in. I don't get me wrong, guys. Some of these guys need some friends.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And
I don't want none of them mistaking my kindness for weakness because I am not weak. I'm just merely me. That's it.
Well, I guess the point I was trying to pique your interest in or get your opinion on was if you're talking to Fred at the house and Fred says, oh, you know, I caught him really good on steep banks or blah, 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 blah.
I think Fred gets lost in a story and just blabs out about the boom boom swim bait, not even thinking about it.
But anyway, you still have to go out and execute and catch them.
That's correct.
Is that wrong?
That's correct.
So
that,
I mean, what is it, James?
That's what. Yeah, exactly. It's the details. I don't know how to wrap my arms around it. That's why the rule is the way it is. No talking about anything. Oh, okay, great.
But isn't the premise of the rule, because you guys are obviously split into two groups. There's 40 day 1,
Yes.
day 2, day 3, day 4. And let's say Angler A is buddies with Angler B, and they room together, and they're in different groups,
Yep.
and Angler B's not on anything, and Angler A goes out and catches 150 freaking pounds, and he knows he's into it, and then all he does is drop some waypoints to Angler B, who's in the next group, and now that guy who would have struggled to catch 30 pounds goes out and catches 80 pounds the next day, and that had nothing
Yep.
to do with the skill. I mean, I understand why the rule is in place, because at what it would do then, I mean, and I know this would happen, there would be guys who weren't on crap, who another dude who was on it says, come in and get it, I'm already safe, because then the weight zero after it, so there's really no incentive to save it, especially
Right.
when you're on lakes, as the Bass Pro Tour has said they're going to do, where your shotgun and elimination or opening rounds are on one body of water, and then you've got other
Yep.
bodies of water as
Because
it goes
the game
on.
is different.
Because the game is different. Now,
That's right.
do I think this rule might be massaged, changed, relaxed as it goes on? I mean, James, if you have an issue with it, you guys have the vote on it. I mean, that's the beauty of
Yeah.
the
You can
Bass
bring it
Pro
up.
Tour. You can bring it up to your guy
Yeah.
and talk about it. So, but I mean, for the first year, I understand the spirit of the rule, and I don't think these guys
Right.
are breaking it. I mean, you're not breaking it. Fred's not breaking it. As long as there is no intent, the spirit of the rule is intact, I'm totally okay with some bycatch. To so to speak.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to get some cod in the nets when you're trolling for salmon.
That's
and
right.
you're not intentionally catching them. It's if you get a dude who's like, hey, I'm going to be out there tying some stuff on. If you want to come out and talk about the weather in 5 minutes, then you're reaching a gray line.
Right.
But,
Right.
I mean, you have a couple Red's apple ales and talk about a swim bait bite that really got your motor going. Who cares?
Yeah.
Maybe if you were in the
Right.
same group, like Group A could talk to Group A.
And then,
Group
but
B.
no, because then it comes random. Because what if Ott and Andy are in Group A? Then
Yeah.
they can talk together. But what if James and Freddie aren't in the same
Then
group?
they
So
can't
then
talk.
it becomes totally random. I mean, we're making a mountain out of a molehill here, but it really is the potential to become a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought it
Well,
up.
No, I know. It's a good discussion. I think it's a discussion that needs to be had.
It is a good discussion. And the thing is, you're right. You can't share waypoints. You can't just dial somebody in. But general talk, you really blasted them on a top water today. Now, what top water did I blast them on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, with you, that's not a very hard question to answer, James. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh,
It's either a
I got more
toad
in-
or a plopper.
yeah. I got more in my arsenal than that now.
Yeah, you
Matt.
just never
Come
tie them
now.
on. It's a black toad
Yeah.
or a black plopper.
But you're right. You can't. We have to have a certain parameter on that rule, because what you don't want to do is go up against three guys that are sharing information. That's why the rule is the way it is. So,
All right. I got you.
And you could
Yeah.
also, man, we'll wrap it up with this. You could also say the argument is, you know what? It's tough on you. You're on the Bass Pro Tour.
Yeah.
There's 80 guys. It's the top level. Quit whining. Get the hell over it and don't talk to anybody. You want to fish at this level? This is what you pay. There's 20,000 other
Yep.
people below you that would love to be in the top 80 right now. So you can go 7 weeks without talking about it with your buddies because you're setting the standard for the rest of the fishing world.
that's right. And you just deal with it.
So
And try to avoid, again, we're not trying to isolate ourselves so much that we can't still enjoy our job.
All right.
So,
James, are we going to see 35 fish rounds and 80 pounds in a round over the next 7 days?
less than before.
Less than before.
Yes. Yes.
let me ask you this. Will someone make the top 10 who made the top 10 2 weeks ago doing the exact same thing they did 2 weeks ago in the exact same spots?
Yes. Yes, they will. Yep. Because it's offshore. It's going to them.
All right. On the instant feedback, Blake in Tennessee wants to know, did you have an issue with the guys that got the fish in the Legends tournament when it was off limits? No issues?
Nope, not one issue. Not one single person that I hear had an issue with that. We all respect the sport. We respect our job. We respect the guys that had to go to work. We know really, I mean, if it got down to that petty of a argument that they're out there for 4 hours in this controlled area, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That they achieve some kind of magical spot in that 4 hours or whatever. Me, I could give a crap less.
Well, we'll just see if anyone thanks Roland Martin for their BPT victory coming up.
Exactly.
You know,
A shout out to
Roland was doodle socking a scuppernong worm.
Yeah, and
really keyed me in on it.
Wow. James.
Yeah, and his helicopter lure and a lily pad.
Jeez. All right, James, as a professional during your career, is this tournament your most important tournament in your career that you've ever fished?
No.
Why is that?
No. Well, it's important, but it's not the most important. The most important is the one you want, the ones that you won, and you cashed in $50,000 to $100,000 paycheck. You know, this is just another tournament. You're trying to do that, and if you did accomplish it, it'd be the most important tournament. So,
all right. You know, the only reason why I asked that is because, number one, it's on your home lake, and I know you've already talked about it. Hey, I've only been on the lake 6 times. I get that, but with the redemption factor, with the fact that you have not, and let's be honest, dude, you have not performed at the level that I think and that a lot of your fans think that you're able to perform at. The added pressure, you admitted that there was added pressure.
Yeah.
But if you don't succeed this week, you just keep moving on, and it's like Ben Franklin. It's history.
Yep, it's history. I've had 2 real shitty tournaments this year, and the rest of them weren't that bad. The problem with our format is the margin of error is this big. All right? I've had some big bags of bass this year. Big bags that had no fish to go with them. In any other format, I would have been a 50%. I would have been batting a 500 this year on paychecks. I promise you that. And I'm not saying that as an excuse. Mm-hmm. I just haven't got it done. I've had good bites this year. I've had big bites this year. I made big comebacks this year. I've just fell short and not had, Raleigh, I needed 3 more bites at Raleigh. Never got them.
Yeah.
I'd have been in. I jumped off 8 fish the second day here the other day. That would have been about in the tune of about 19 to 20 pounds. That would have easily got me in. I just jumped them off. Everybody jumps fish off. I didn't need to jump those fish off. I would have been in. So I'm not upset about my performance. I'm upset about my outcome.
Okay.
I just have one more question.
Me too.
Yeah.
There are
Get 'em.
certain specific things that James Watson has done on the water in the past that are magical, mystical, revolutionary tactics. Is there a chance that we could tune in this week and see those magical, mystical tactics at play, and
tomorrow
the world and certain online retailers and certain places that have jumping fish in their logos are now back ordered for 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I gotta, seriously, as soon as the show's over, I need to get out of here. I'm not kidding.
Weather permitting, yeah. Did you say there's a chance the Costa might get moved from Grand to here?
Well, that was an off-record rumor that I had heard fourth-hand, James.
We don't know. We can't see them happening.
I heard it too, Matt.
Yeah.
I heard it too.
It's the worst-kept secret. Now, we have no idea. I have not heard confirmation from anybody. Here's what it is.
That's it.
Someone talked to someone who talked to someone else that I know who said that was a possibility.
I talked to Mark McWall in a text message yesterday, and he didn't talk like that was an option. So, But I don't know. Is Mark McWall your guys' tournament director for that division?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, they're probably
I'm
not.
calling-
They're probably definitely not going to have it at Grand Lake.
No,
There's-
there ain't no way. I heard
just
it's
can't
about
see
to
it.
go over the dam.
It's crazy, man. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Did you say Biffle was staying at your house?
Yeah.
I gotta ask, man. Have you seen him put line or get multiple spinning rods ready for this derby?
That'd be fun. Take a picture?
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Did he really though? I want to know.
That's
Did
funny.
you see him? Did you see him rigging up a spinning rod and reel?
Yeah, he had 2 or 3 of them out.
Wow.
Last week I saw him. He had some out. So
I've seen him use it before.
Oh, I remember the first time I ever saw him use one. We were on Clark's Hill, and me and Harold pulled into that area and found Tommy, and he was doing this.
I think he was doing it on Dardanelle one time too.
He was just fighting that spinning rod and reel like crazy.
And then he idled by. He was out in the middle. It might have been Dardanelle. He idled by and didn't say anything. And as he idled by, he just went, F that.
oh boy.
Hey, are you gonna have a camera with you? Do you know yet?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet. If they're gonna put one on me, they better put it on me the Saturday. So
All right.
but
All right.
That's a
I
good.
hope,
That's a
I
good
hope they
interview.
do. I like the camera. You know, it doesn't bother me. I fish just fine with it. So
All right. So what's going to be a good day for you? 50, 60 pounds?
45 or 50.
Okay.
Be a good day.
All right.
Yeah.
Still good, but
Yep.
not as good. But I mean, when they were there 2 weeks ago, it was literally every single pattern that's ever been invented in the history of bass fishing you could catch a fish doing.
Yeah.
That's right. You could. I had my best 5 the first day would have been about 14 pounds. And my best 5 the second day would have been about 17 pounds.
Yeah, that would have you fishing for
And-
the championship in just about any other format on Table Rock.
Yeah.
Any other form. And again, not an excuse. It is what it is. Our game is new. I want people to keep watching, have an open mind. If you're a tournament angler now and you're one of those guys that are like, oh, I just can't get into it. Or if you're one of those guys like anybody could do it. Bullshit. If anybody could do it, I'd be doing it. It's hard to catch 100 pounds of bass. It's hard to catch a 20-pound sack that 5 bass that weigh 20 pounds. Trust me, it's hard to catch 60 bass that weigh 80 pounds. It's all a challenge, and it's all difficult to do. It's a new way of playing the game. It's going to take some getting used to, but the skill level's still there. Someone's still going to be in first place, and somebody's still going to be in last place. I can promise you at every one of our tournaments.
That's a good point. Good point, dude. All right, man. We wish you nothing but the best, James. Have a great final day of practice, and then we'd love to have you back on as the winner.
Hey, I will be dialing you before you dial me if that takes place.
I'm calling it right now. I'm calling a weight tie, a numbers tie, everything. Mike McClellan and James Watson on the final day. They're going to tie all the way down the board, have a fish off, and then tie in the fish off and be declared co-champions. They're going to cut the trophy in half with a bad boy mower.
Oh, yeah, with the bad boy mower doing the chop.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, good deal.
All right, James. Man, take care.
I appreciate it. Everybody go follow me on The Real James Watson on Instagram, James Watson Professional Angler on Facebook.
All right. Have fun today, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll
ya.
talk to you soon.
See ya.
See ya. All right, there you have it. James Watson, a very frank James Watson.
No, that was a real interview right there.
Yeah.
That was not the would you rather kind of fun interview there. He seemed a little stressed.
Yeah.
He seemed optimistic, but he was real.
I get what he said about the question that I asked on, is this your most important tournament in your career? The ones that I win, those are the important ones. But think about it from a mental capacity, from a confidence capacity. We talk about the mental game so much, Matt.
I know. But like I said, I mean, it's different. He's trying to figure it out. I mean, while we might say, he said, I've been on the lake 6 days. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
But he's got a ton of
experience.
experience.
Yeah, but look in the
history.
grand scheme of things, he fished hundreds of tournaments. There might be one, but like he said, I don't think he realized the magnitude or importance of it till hindsight. Till you look past on it. Now, I did think it was interesting. And I don't know where to go with this, but I think it's interesting. They hold them to this incredibly high standard as far as the no info rule with other competitors once practice starts. Mm-hmm. But then there's no one really had the issue with the guys being on the water afterward. I think you got to do all or nothing. I don't think you can cherry pick. Well, we'll let some guys on the water during off limits, but then this no info rule is super tight. I think it's either free for all or by the book regardless of what happens. Because like I said, regardless of what you want to say, they are setting the standard. Yeah. Just like the Elite Series still sets the standard, just like the FLW Tour still sets the standard. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of eyes on MLF and how they're dealing with the different situations because they are making changes and it is angler driven. So and that's just my personal opinion, Mark. Yeah. But I think it's either let them get info. If there's a media event, let the guys on the water for the media event, let them do it. Or nope, you guys are the top 80. Sorry, Johnny. I know we had this plan, but we can't compromise the integrity. I'm not saying it's compromised, but I'm just saying we have to maintain the rules across all 80 for anything, no exceptions. Just like in every other major sport, can you think of any rules of exception that has ever been made in Major League Fishing, NHL, NBA, NHL, fighting, tennis, golf? I mean, have you ever heard of a thing on golf, where it's like, oh, they let Tiger go out and play a couple extra holes and look at the greens, but no one else was allowed on the course before the Masters?
Well, I'll throw two names out at you. Casey Martin and John Daly.
The golfers.
Yeah, you remember what happened with them?
Didn't Casey Martin have a cart?
Yeah, and so did John Daly.
Yeah, but that was a medical thing. That was not a one-time deal that... And
they both... Now, the Casey Martin deal was years and years ago, and that was a little different, but recently John Daly received a lot of criticism because of... Supposedly, he's got arthritis or something in his knees and blah, blah, blah.
And people are saying, well, then he just shouldn't be able to play because that's not...
Why does he get a cart? And they made an exception because of the Disabilities Act and all that.
That's a different deal. That would be like the guy having an aid in the boat or something. Or this is... Yeah. I'm talking about one...
I get it. You're right. You're right. But Daly using a golf cart, does that change the game? Does that give him a competitive advantage when the rest of the field, it's like being on the water. Okay, there was a group of guys that were on the water. The rest of the field wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's guys who have arthritis who are still walking probably on the senior PGA.
Yeah, that's
so at what point do you get the cart? At what point do you not? I mean, what point do you let 4 guys on the lake for a deal and what point do you not?
That's the point I'm trying to make.
If X company that isn't a major sponsor says, hey, we've got a commercial plan, do they let those 4 guys on the water the next time?
Yeah. Great point. All right, good stuff, though.
It's just a discussion topic. It's not. I'm not making a big deal out of it. I'm not trying to be an internet troll about it.
We're just talking.
It's just the first time I'd ever heard of that. I don't...
Hey, Brian in California brings up a good point. Earlier in the show, I mentioned the Lake Fork television show, and he said, with all the live coverage, do you think the ratings are going to drop? Says that he hasn't watched a TV show or DVR'd one in years because of all the live coverage. I'm sure they have seen a drop. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, I mean, if I had just heard about Brandon Cobb's 11-pounder and hadn't seen it, I probably would have been like, got to make sure I watch that TV show when it comes out because there's some crazy stuff. But I've seen Chad Pipkins walking around the boat going, oh, please let me personal best. I watched that live. I watched the Brandon Cobb where he catches the 9-pounder while he's talking to Zona and Sanders on live. I've watched all that stuff already, so I have a feel. Just like on the Hartwell one, I watched Stetson Blaylock catching him on the frog and those guys doing that. And I watched the bass dangling over the edge of the dock in Florida for Drew Cook. So, Yeah, that's a valid point. And it doesn't mean that I won't watch it at some point.
I just think the vast
will.
majority of people, he said he didn't DVR it, but I think the vast majority of people DVR it. Mm-hmm. Would you say? Because they come on at weird times, not weird times, just times when people are doing things. So most of the time people are going to DVR it. I don't know. It'd be really, really interesting to see if there has been a drop in ratings since the advent of live. I would assume yes.
Well, I know that on FLW, you know, I did the FLW live there at Grand, that they do like a half-hour recap show now.
Yeah.
It's not a full-on out production, and the footage that they use in that recap show is what was shown on live.
Yeah.
You know, we go in and we do the cutouts and the takeaways and all that, but it's, that takes a couple hours afterwards. It's not a full-on, hey, who's going to, win this deal. It starts there, and it's basically a recap of what happened, because the thinking is, a lot of these people watch it live, and you can go back online and watch every single second of live archive footage.
Yeah. Great point. All right, I want to wrap up the show real quick. I know we have a lot of young listeners and people that watch the replays and all that and everything, and I have talked about Bob Cobb at numerous times on the show over the years.
Cool. This is really cool.
All right, and how influential that Bob Cobb was on so many of the things that I've done over the 25-plus years being involved in this game from a media standpoint. And he was actually part of the 20 Feet Deep documentary that we recently launched called 49th, about kind of a behind-the-scenes look at the 49th Bassmaster Classic. Well, as you know, Matthew, I have been receiving numerous comments and emails, all right? Some good, some bad, some indifferent, just, about some of the stuff that we have discussed on the show recently. And yesterday I went to the mailbox, and I really do not go to the mailbox. Usually the wife gets the mail. But for some reason
Going to the mail for you is like changing diapers and holding babies.
I know.
You just never have done it.
I just never do it. And I went to the mailbox yesterday, and there was an envelope that looked like just, a handwritten.
Yep. You're thinking, great, more hate mail.
Yeah. And it was
a handwritten hate mail.
Yeah. It wasn't the standard junk mail or anything like that. And what it was, folks, and I'm not going to read it.
Yeah, read some sections of it. It's the coolest thing. How many people can say it?
It means a lot to me. And it is, I'm going to get it framed. And it was a handwritten note, from Bob Cobb after Bob Cobb watched the documentary. And
49th.
Yeah.
The story of the 49th Bassmaster Classic that took place in Tennessee earlier this month, that Mark Jeffries filmed and edited the documentary that is available on basson.com and the Bass Talk Live YouTube channels under the 20 Feet Deep tab.
Yeah, under the documentary tab. But the thing about it is I think a lot of listeners, they don't realize, especially the younger listeners, maybe some of the older people like me, realize how much influence that Bob Cobb had on this game. Well, not only from a production standpoint.
Determined how it was covered, how it was reported on. He directed how it should be filmed. I mean, he was at pretty much everything. Not only that, but also being one of the first Bass members.
Yeah. Just one of the iconic people in this game. And for him to take the time and sit down and write a handwritten note to me, it blew me away. And I don't know if Bob watches the show or listens to it or anything like that, but I am going to respond today. But I want to thank Bob for sending me this note, because it means so much. And I'll read just the first line. It says, "Good morning, Mark. As history notes, there are a million stories at the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. I just watched 20 Feet Deep. I just watched the 20 Feet Deep production of the Classic in Knoxville. Let me conclude. It was one in a million. Excellent storytelling. The legacy of what the Bassmasters Classic means for bass anglers, fans, touches me personally."
Very cool.
All right. And he said some other things on there, but he is one of the iconic people in this game in every aspect. I think he's in his mid-80s now.
With an oppressive array of nostalgic vintage BASS paraphernalia.
Oh, yeah.
The hats, the shirts, the patches.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
You know, he just came out, and I've showed it before. He came out with his brand new book. It sits here on the studio desk. Just some fascinating reading if you're into the history of what went down in the early years as things progressed. And I mentioned on this show, the first 2 chapters talk about what we're dealing with right now. And it took place 50 years ago.
Did you get that link that I sent you?
About the article that was in the Washington Post?
Yeah.
I did.
I sent it to you and Dave. What was
Yeah.
it? I got you don't realize how many different people you send text messages receive until you try to
So anyway,
Here, wait.
just a big thank you to Bob Cobb, and that means so much to me. To get
Here's
that
what I
note.
say, or what that kind of reminded me of. Who's Kansas State's coach that they've done the game day specials on how he writes the handwritten notes to everyone?
Snyder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Coach Bill Snyder.
Yeah.
This Washington Post article from 2 days ago is very fascinating.
We need to get into that when you get back.
I'll just read the title. I'll
Yeah.
just kind of tease it. This is the title. 2 pro lacrosse leagues are fighting for talent, attention, and maybe survival. Let me give a 2-line summary.
Okay.
The Major League Lacrosse that was based in cities. Guys weren't happy. Didn't think they were getting paid enough. Didn't think the franchises were marketing them the way they should.
Yep,
Didn't
sounds
think they
familiar.
were getting theirs. So some players, mainly one player, a star player, went out on his own, created his own league under a completely different format that now has 6 or 8 teams, but no geographical location, that goes on a 13-city tour where they play each other. And then took like 120 of the top players from across the country, including Major League Lacrosse, with him to this new league.
Yeah.
Got a TV deal with NBC Sports, a exclusive contract with Adidas. And the league kicks off next week for 2.5 months with a guaranteed $25,000 salary to each player.
Yeah. I glanced
And
through
no
it.
one knows how it's going to work.
Yeah, we definitely need to get into that when you come back.
And this whole thing started in 2018, and they're doing it in 2019 now. I've read the in-depth articles.
Is this
everything
indoor
behind it.
lacrosse?
No,
Or
it's outdoor.
It is outdoor.
I think it's been touched on in a couple of the little bass fishing, some of the newsletters and stuff, but not to a level to where everyone can see. The same thing is going on in rodeo.
Yeah.
Same thing. So it's not like, fishing is the only microcosm in the world that this is happening in. It's a pretty broad spectrum in a lot of these leagues, but will be interesting because there are immense number of parallels.
Yep, absolutely. All right, where are you headed next week?
I'm headed to Lake Amistad on Sunday for it's the 5th year now. I think it's like the 7th year that they've done it. The Kurt Doves Pro Bass Camp. This is the first year, though. I will say this: I am nervous.
Yeah, you earned it, dude. You earned it. You're going to be doing a seminar.
I'm going to be doing a seminar on how to celebrate after you catch a fish.
Hey,
No,
you
I'm-
earned it, dude.
I've done a seminar with these kids in the years past. You're talking guys, Pete Pods, Denny Brower, Keith Cobes, James Niggemeyer,
How to deal with the
Cliff
media, right?
Crochet, Keith Poche, Matt Reed, Kurt Dove, big names.
How to deal with the media.
Yeah,
Right.
so what I do is I go up there and I talk about, when they fish the high school tournaments, how to talk to a reporter, or how to interact with the media and social media and stuff like that. Well, Kurt Dove calls me this time and he's like, dude, you're fishing 2 divisions of the Costas. And I was like, where are you going with this? He's like, it's time you do a technique seminar.
You earned it.
I was
You
like,
earned
dude, I've done BTL for like 11 years. I was like, I don't even in these AFCO videos, I don't ever go into techniques or why I do what I do. I'm like, I just do my thing. Like there's a million.
So what are you gonna do?
There's a
Do you know what
million
you're gonna do yet?
starving anglers out there that are professional anglers that actually could tell you how to do it. Like
So what are you going to do? Do you know what you're going to do yet?
yeah, it's ironic. I'm doing one on the Ned rig.
Send that to Watson.
I swear I'm doing one on the Ned rig. I'm doing the how to catch a limit quick.
Send that to Watson. When you get done
Wacky
with
worm Ned rig and 0.5 crankbaits. All egg beaters.
it. There you have it.
Spinning rod.
Very cool.
SX1 to sniper fluorocarbon. the
Are you
whole
going to
nine
make
yards.
that part of your bass boot camp?
Yeah,
maybe
the
a
next
section?
Bass Boot Camp
Yeah, that'd be
episode
cool.
is going to be the whole pro bass camp down there at Lake
Okay,
Fork.
cool.
I'm also a camp counselor. How scary is that? I'll be counseling the young
in
minds
all
across
aspects.
America.
Hey, dude, you're there. You're there. That's a cool deal. I know Kurt does a great job with that. And
Well, I'll
it's
be
really
live
good for the
next
kids,
week
too.
during BTL.
Yeah, that's what we're
from
going to
Lake
do. All
Amistad.
right, we've got Bill Lowen on. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you on in the morning for the first, I don't know, whatever, 20, 30 minutes. And then I'll let you go. And then on Tuesday, Bill Lowen's going to be on. Having a good year, having a solid season in the top, I think he's in the top 10. I think he's 9th place.
He's close. He's up there.
Yeah.
All those guys who they were like, hey, they're going to just destroy everyone. None of them are destroying anybody, but they're all having solid years.
Yeah.
They're all going to make the classic. A lot of the returners.
Yeah. So that's kind of the plan, and then we'll have you on Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. I'm headed to Texoma tomorrow. Hopefully, I will not get cut.
Flesh-eating disease.
I will work on talking to my striper buddy and see if he can give us any insight
You're
on
going to
that.
be wearing work gloves.
I got some sitting over there, man. Wow. Didn't you talk about the receiver's glove? You remember with the whole MLF thing on how you could,
Yep.
I wonder if that would work. If you got a pair of
That's what Paul Elias used at Falcon.
Yeah.
He used a batter's glove.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. But
Why
you know
don't you
those
just wear-
receivers gloves
Yeah,
have
but that's
stickum on 'em.
sticky, and then they get slimy, and then they get slick. You want the
Probably doesn't
You
work
want the
then.
leather batting glove.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably wear one because I know how paranoid you. I mean, if whatever happens to your hand happens to your shin,
Yeah.
or whatever happened to your
Oh, I
shin
know,
happens
I
to
know.
your hand.
Gnarly.
I mean, that looks like you had like a grub worm bore out of your
I know.
leg down
It is
there.
pretty gnarly. All right. So I will going with Steve Wunderlich tomorrow.
Former
Former
this
PMA
is
member. Yeah, we're gonna go first time that we
business/fishing.
that we've been in the boat together. A lot of stuff in the water. Texoma's up, I think 9-10 feet. Hopefully this one ramp that I think is still usable is going to be usable, but that's kind of the plan, and then we'll be back on Monday, man. Anything else?
Nope. That's all I got.
That's it?
Yep.
Nothing else?
Nope.
All right. You leaving on
Am I
Sunday?
missing something out?
No.
Was there something I was supposed to talk about?
No.
Okay, then we're done.
No. Just making sure. Hopefully everybody out there will have a safe weekend. It was interesting to see the maps on where the flood conditions are being a huge effect, or having a huge effect on people across the Midwest. And it's just about every single state in the central section of the U.S.
Not good.
Kind of crazy. All right, we will be back on Monday. Matthew will be live via Skype from Lake Amistad, and then we'll have Bill Lowen on Tuesday, and then I am working on a guest for Wednesday. Might be able to get Bradley in here in studio on Wednesday. We'll see if we can get that done. All right, I want to thank James Watson for taking time out. Everybody, make sure you check out what they have going on at Table Rock this week on all their live coverage, and then we'll be back on Monday. Matthew, be safe, enjoy, tell Kurt I said hi. That's going to wrap this week up. We're out of here.